The story of Passover is a story of miracles, a story of redemption, a story of the mighty power of God to overcome evil. Okay. The Lord has promised the land of Israel to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yet here were the children in Egypt. The Pharaoh who come to power feared them. These foreigners in our midst are prospering and have grown numerous, he thought. Suppose they join with our enemies and turn against us. Pharaoh decided to exert greater control over the people, imposing harsh and bitter slavery upon the Israelites. Still, God blessed his people in strength and number.
Pharaoh grew more frightened and ordered every baby boy among the Israelites to be drowned in the Nile River. One Israelite couple hid their little boy for 3 months, finally entrusting his future to God. They set him in a basket and placed him upon the river. His sister, Miriam, watched as he floated downstream. Coming upon the basket, Pharaoh's daughter took pity on the child and chose to raise him as her own son. She called him Moses, meaning drawn from the water.
Moses grew and became aware of the travail of his people. One day, in a rage, he lost control of himself and killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave. Fleeing the palace in the eye of Pharaoh, Moses became a shepherd in the land of Midian, far from the cries of his suffering brothers.
The Lord, however, saw the affliction of the children of Israel and heard their groaning. He would raise up a deliverer to lead them out of bondage. It was then that he appeared to Moses in the midst of a bush that burned with fire, yet was not consumed. Moses drew close and listened as God commissioned him to go to Pharaoh. Fearful and reluctant, still Moses agreed to bring God's message to the king of Egypt. Let my people go.
Sorry for that technical difficulty. Top of page 20, the cup of plagues. I remember I did this at an all-Gentile affair one time, and one guy said, didn't know he didn't want to do it, say it real loud, but he says, "I ain't going to drink this cup." Cup of plagues. I will easy for me to say. I will free you from the forced labor of the Egyptians. Exodus 6:6. Moses left the wilderness to return to Pharaoh's palace, the very place where he had been raised. He returned with the message which the Lord had given him. But God himself warned Moses of all of the resistance that he would encounter. Altogether, I know that the king of Egypt will not let you leave unless he is forced to do so. But I will reach out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders that I will do there. After that, he will let you go. Exodus 3:19 and 20. God sent plagues one by one. Yet with each plague, Pharaoh hardened his heart. The Egyptians became afflicted with discomfort and disease, bane and blight. Still, Pharaoh would not relent. With a 10th and most awful plague, God pierced through the hardness of Pharaoh's impenetrable heart. Altogether, for that night I will pass through the land of Egypt and kill all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both men and women. And I will execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt. I am Adonai. Exodus 12:12. What we'll do this time is we're I'm going to dip my finger in, and we're just going to recite the plagues one time. Normally it's done 3 times, but you'll see in the middle of page 21, we're going to shout out all together each one of those plagues. Blood, frogs, lice, boils, cattle disease, boils, hail, locust, darkness, death of the firstborn. Page 22. The Passover lamb, Pesach. The blood will serve as a sign, marking the houses where you are. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. Exodus 12:13. Rabbi Gamaliel, teacher of Rabbi Saul, Paul the Apostle, taught them in recounting the Passover story, one must be certain to mention 3 things: the unleavened bread, matzah, the bitter herbs, maror, the Passover lamb, Pesach. Altogether, we have eaten the matzah to remind us of the haste with which the children of Israel fled Egypt. We have tasted the bitter herbs to remind us of the bitter slavery they experienced there. Still my part, right? This roasted shank bone represents the lamb whose blood marked the houses of the children of Israel, signifying their obedience to God's command.
On the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all of the people of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and the tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. Exodus 12:3-5-7.
That night they are to eat the meat roasted in the fire.